Hey everybody, it's your friend Sarmate here, and we're back with another episode of Settlement Survival. Hope we're having a fantastic and amazing day today. In our last episode, we got to level 4 trade reputation with Rania, and that unlocked the Grand Bazaar for us. So here we go. I had it built up in between episodes a little bit here. So we got this guy all good to go. Looks good. Huge, nice building. And we're doing really good with laborers all of a sudden again. I did do a little bit of tweaking with our worker numbers. So like over in here in our dense forest farms and our dense orchard, I cut everything back to 2 workers down from 4 just to kind of try and get some workers back. And we're sitting on 35,000 timber. So I thought that it would be an okay thing to do. So we did that there. And then over here as well with our apples, I did the same. And then we had 1 mine that got completed. So, I mean, that's like, 15, 20 people, but not, 40, whatever. I don't know where all these guys came from, but we have them now, so I'm super happy about it. So what I want to do... Oh, I gotta show you this too. I'm upgrading that neighborhood that we talked about a couple episodes ago for those luxury houses. And you can see we're about halfway done. I've just been marking up a whole bunch of them for upgrades. And then we have the goods to do it and the workers to do it. So we're going ahead and building things back up. We're utilizing our marquees while we're building the houses. So we kick them out, they run over there, they live here for a little while, and then they come back to a luxury house. All brand spanking new, ready for them. And it's working out really well. So I would suggest that if you're trying to upgrade like I'm doing here, build a couple marquees and then upgrade, and then they go live there. Up over in here, I've also been filling in all sorts of puppies. We currently have no more puppies. So if I try to go upgrading here, click on puppies, we have 0. So we're going to have to buy a whole bunch of them. So what I would like to do with the Grand Bazaar, and what else I would like to work on in this episode, is getting to some silk stuff. So for silk, we really need the mulberry leaves, and that's what we don't have. So with our new Grand Bazaar, I want to sell some stuff, get enough money so that we can purchase some mulberry leaves, and then get those things planted. These guys are going to be able to be grown in the orchard, and then we also will have to get some silkworm sheds, and then that can be processed into silk at the textile mill. So it's a little bit of a process, but I think we can do that all in this episode. So we'll get that one technology there. And then I think to just kind of finish up this tree, let's go ahead and grab the proficiency, making the growth rate plus 25% here. We almost have another tech point. So let's go ahead and grab the advanced research. And then I think what we'll do with that next tech point, we've been talking about it for forever now. Let's grab the remodel gear and be able to upgrade our reservoirs and some other things like that with gears. It's high time to do it. And we'll be doing all sorts of upgrades. This will kind of round it out. On our timeline, we have some merchant ships on the way and immigrants. Excellent. And then we did have a administrator position become available. So at one point, I had gone through here and I had checked all of these. And by doing that, that is going to prevent these people from cycling out. So 5,000 coins each time. So when these guys' terms expire, you pay the 5,000 coins, they stick around. And that's great, except this is costing us quite a bit of money to keep these people here. But I kind of like what they do. So we got the warmth, we got the durability of tools, we have the citizen procreation rate, very, very important right now, and then farm yield to keep those citizens fed. And then this new guy, Abner, the interval between the arrival of merchant ships is minus 10%. We're looking for those couple blueprints that we talked about a couple episodes ago, and I thought that would be a great way to try and do it. So for now, let's go ahead and check that on so that we will refresh that as we go along here. Okay, so now coming back up to our bazaar, let's go ahead and set some of this stuff up, and we'll try to get to level 5 with Rania, but I also want to get some more puppies and those seeds. All right, we have our Grand Bazaar set up. 2 different caravans going out. The one is going to go to Carlos. We are going to be selling some jewelry and some porcelain for a good hunk of money here. And then we're going to buy those mulberry seeds and a bunch of planks. Remember, we're working on planks for our great palace right here. We're working on that. And we are also going to go visit Rania, trying to get that rep up. And remember, we have bell towers. We have a bunch of bell towers. We're going to sell these things and a bunch of ovens as well. We're going to sell those and then come back with 50 puppies. We're going to lose a little bit of money on this transaction, but not too bad. The other really nice thing about the Grand Bazaar is the carry weight is significantly higher. So the carry weight on our Grand Bazaar is 5,400 up from the small trading post carry weight, which is 1,800. So significantly better. We're going to go ahead and send those 20 people out, and we're going to get all sorts of goodies on the way here. It would be super awesome. I did notice that we had some immigrants that came in that were a little sick. So you can see here, we have 12 citizens who are infected with the plague. Now, we do have the means to deal with that, so it might take a little bit of time, but we're going to go ahead and get that rectified here. You can see we got a couple of the disease people wandering around. But we got our hospitals, a couple other things around that are going to allow us to take care of that. So not too bad. It'll just be a little bit and they'll be good to go. And now we have another technology point available to us. And then, like I said, let's go ahead and go to our remodel gear. And then we are going to finally unlock gears. One sec. We got to check this. Pause the game. Okay, so we got our merchant ship here. And unfortunately, no blueprints that I'm seeing here. So we're going to go ahead and just dismiss this deal. And then we are going to ignore it. Oh, anyways, what I was saying was... And then we're going to come up over in here to put together our gears, and that's going to be in the forge. So we built a couple of these a while ago in anticipation for this, but we were having our labor shortage. So we're good to go with that now. Let's go ahead and set up some gears. So right now we have building kits. We're doing really great with building kits, so this isn't going to be too big of a deal to swap this over to gears. And that's going to take some steel tools, which we have, and then a little bit of steel. So we're going to go ahead and set this up. Let's leave the production limit at 200. I think that's just fine. And we'll let that thing go. So we are going to have to get some of these smelters back up and operational here because we need more steel, especially if we're going to be utilizing it for gears. And we also are going to be needing it for the gears steel tooling. So we'll go ahead and get that set up. And then the other thing that we put in this other forge here for was going to be some tooling kits. And we're going to go ahead and set that up. So again, steel tools, we need some leather, we need some rope, and then we're going to go ahead and do that. We'll also leave the production limit at 200 here. And we won't add anybody else addition to these forges just yet. But we will be able to upgrade to the brick kilns. And we have 2,000 brick. Let's go ahead and upgrade these guys. All right, I upgraded their smelters and I upgraded our forges. Okay, so great. Those guys are going to be working a little bit better. We definitely want that. And then coming up over in here, this is kind of where we have a lot of our advanced smithies. So along with level 4 Brania, not only did we get the Grand Bazaar, but we also got some exquisite swords. So if we go over in here, that is going to be one of our recipes here. Exquisite swords takes just a regular 5-old steel and turns that into 130 valued sword. So not too bad. Let's go ahead and compare them with our statues over in here. So our statues are selling for only 40 apiece. So significantly higher sell rate on our swords. So I might want to swap over to more sword-focused things. Another thing that we could do with these carving workshop is adjust to gold and jade statues. Now, these guys are selling for way, way more than the iron statues and even more than the swords. So let's go ahead, instead of taking this out, let's go ahead and just change one of these. So last episode, we got to gold sand, and we also got to jade. And we don't have a ton of either one of those, but we're going to absolutely put some of that to work in our statues here. So let's go to gold statue, and we'll get that thing started up working some gold for us. And then I think what we should do is prepare for our mulberry seeds that are on the way. So we want dense orchards for that, so we're going to go ahead and shift left click on this guy. And I think we'll come over in here. We got a little bit of room kind of by our obsidian mines over in here. And let's go ahead and we'll get a couple of more orchards on the way. Now, we don't need, like, a ton of mulberries to begin with here. So we're just going to go ahead. We'll do the one for now. We should have this bamboo and the brick and the clay looking awesome. And we'll go ahead and we'll do those upgrades. Now, we do have some planks on the way, right? But we're going to need a lot of planks. As you can see here, we're needing, like, 6,000 planks. 6,000. So we have some work to do. Let's go ahead and put in a couple more sawmills. And since the water sawmills are a little bit more efficient than the not water sawmills, I would like to place it on the bank here somewhere if we could find a good spot for it. And it looks like we got a spot right here. So let's put in a few if we can. This might not be quite good enough. Yeah, the bank's not that great right there. We can get the one in there. But let's see if we can get another one fit in. And that one will work great right there. So let's go ahead and we'll tie in the roads, of course. And we'll check back on those water sawmills shortly. Set them up and get a little bit more plank action happening. It'll be a really nice thing to get a bunch more of because we're going to be using planks like crazy. It looks like we already have another merchant ship on the timeline. That'll be excellent once they get here. We can double check, see if they got those blueprints. That'd be really great. And check this out. The whole neighborhood is now upgraded to luxury houses. So again, we want to do that because of the stress reduction. The stress reduction, the lower that your city stress is, the higher your fertility rate will be. And of course, we want a high fertility rate to continue to grow the town. I was looking at our stats graph right here, our production graph. So in the last 10 years. Look at how flat this graph is. I would like to be, you know, gaining people here. We haven't been gaining people, but on the other hand, we haven't been losing a ton of people either. That's what I'm looking for. We're looking at this orange line right here, and that is the overall inhabitants. You can see the breakdown here: adults, students, children. Let's go ahead and check 25 years, just out of curiosity's sake, to see what it looks like. And 25 years ago, we're currently at year 76. We had a pretty good spike through time there, and then we have absolutely plateaued quite a bit here. And we want to keep growing that, as I mentioned. So we're going to continue to take immigrants. We're going to try and continue to provide lots of good housing and keep that fertility rate up. And, of course, upgrading as much as we can with our puppies and cats, too, once we get some of those guys. Another option that we could look at for that kind of thing is the villas here. 25% stress reduction on the villa. Now, that's pretty good. So I believe, if I remember correctly, we calculated 35% stress reduction for luxury houses upgraded with puppies and cats. So with the villa, of course, that's going to be 10% higher, and that's really good. 45% stress reduction. That would be a huge thing to get into. But villas are very, very expensive to build, and putting most people in villas is, I mean, it's doable, but I feel like that's going to be a very difficult thing. You can see here that's going to take some silver cutlery, some furniture, building kits, and some luxury bedding. We do have a significant amount, I guess, of most of these goods, so we could put in quite a few. And we'll work toward that. The next point, maybe we'll go toward villa, and then we're going to definitely move on into the luxury apartments. Now, the luxury apartments don't mention anything about a stress reduction. So what I may end up doing is destroying these. This is what a luxury apartment stems from. Destroying these housings and building villas in their place. Just because we don't have that stress reduction buff that we would really like to have. So that's something to consider doing there. Let's go ahead and check on our buildings, see if we have those built up and ready to designate goods. It looks like we do here, the advanced smithy. This guy was going to be our exquisite swords, and so we'll get Cedric started on a couple of swords for us. And yeah, there we go. Steel is getting really, really low, only 11. Let's come back over here in kind of our steel row here. And it looks like we're going to need to turn back on a couple of these fuel factories. I had cut these out because we were at max cap and we needed more workers. So I'm going to turn those back on. And it's definitely looking like we are going to need a couple more smelters. We have a good amount of ore, so that shouldn't be too big of a concern at this moment. So let's get a couple more smelters going so that we can create enough steel to continue to run all this stuff. Endgame goods require a lot of steel. And so let's go ahead and try and provide all that. Oh, we had an advanced smithy right here that we could have utilized for our swords. But let's go ahead and we'll put another worker for steel tooling, because we're using steel tooling now in the gears and as well as tool kits. Coming back over here to our water sawmills, these guys are good to go. We want to get some planks going with these guys. We'll put 3 people in there. And then here is the reinforcement, but what we are looking for is for gears. And we don't quite have enough materials yet. We need 25 years before we can do that. But we will absolutely be upgrading as we go along here. Another thing that we are kind of in trouble with is household fuels right here. So it's something to keep in mind. I've been trying to keep our coal up. You can see that we're producing a bucket load of coal. Most of that is going towards refined fueling and not heating our houses. So I might need to up that production a little bit more. Now that we seem to be more okay with laborers, that might be something to consider as well as building a couple more mines or upgrading our mines. That's what we really should be doing. Those infinite mines and digging for some more coal. Other water sawmill, let's go ahead and get set up as planks. Of course, we could go ahead and set these up for domestic fuel here. We have tons and tons of timber, as we mentioned previously. But I think we're going to focus on coal for that stuff. Go ahead and add another worker in there as well. Checking on our Grand Bazaar caravans, it looks like they have recently set out. We have quite a bit of time left to wait for both of these to come back, but we're getting there. So we will continue to wait for that so that we can set up our dense orchard for our mulberries. And then while we're thinking about that, let's go ahead and come down over in here and get some silkworm sheds started up. And we'll get these guys ready to go. And then when we get those seeds, we're going to be able to hit the ground running with this stuff. I think that would be a good thing to do. We'll go ahead and the silkworm shed set up. And then I think we also unlocked the clothing factory when we got that tech. Yes, we did. So let's get some clothing factories going on over in here also so that we can really process that silk. I'm going to put 2 in because of our clothing situation. Still kind of low. We were having a clothing problems a couple episodes ago. I still want to make sure that we get that taken care of course. Let's come down over in here, and we have our advanced tailors, which we can upgrade to clothing factories, brick, steel, and lamp oil. But there it is. The steel issue is presenting itself yet again. So we already have things in place to hopefully address this. We'll keep our eye on it. Hopefully we can get on top of our steel production. And then we are going to absolutely be upgrading our advanced tailors to clothing factories. Higher efficiency is what I'm after. If we can get these rough clothes squared away, ideally we quit making rough clothes and we just focus on better clothes, any better clothes than rough clothing. Right now we just have our down jackets as our next tier up. There's plenty of other things to go for here. We could do luxury coats, we could go costumes. And then once we do get that silk in here, we do have some silk, it looks like. We can absolutely go for some luxury coats. Just got to keep that base of our rough clothing taken care of. All right, our caravans have just pulled in just in time for the flood to hit us. So as you can see, we got the water encroaching on us. So this is going to kill our cropland. We should have plenty of food saved up to deal with it. But with the caravans coming back now, that means we can start planting our dense orchard with the mulberry leaves. So we're going to go ahead and click that guy, get that guy started up. You can see our silkworm shed is already good to go, waiting for 10 of those mulberry leaves. So we're going to go ahead and get those provided with, of course, the dense orchard. So after the silkworm shed does its thing, we'll be able to come over here to our textile mill that I realized that I forgot. So I put that in, and we're going to go ahead and go for silk, get that started up, and then we'll come to our clothing factory. And the clothing factory has all sorts of good stuff in here. So, of course, everything previously, as well as the custom gown. So we'll be getting silk, we have refined leather, and we have jewelry. So we'll be able to start working on custom gowns, which are really, really good. First-class luxury made from silk, refined leather, or seal fur and jewelry at the clothing factory. Much warmer than gowns, tradable goods with a high value. Durability of 1000, temperature 6, happiness 40. Let's just do a little comparison there with the rough clothes. We have temperature 1 and then happiness 15 with the durability of only 400. So yes, the custom gowns are significantly better. Once we get silk underway, we're going to be looking really, really fancy around town. So we'll get that queued up on the way, get that working. And then what I'm going to do, we now have 50 puppies. So we're going to come back over in here, and I am going to be filling in a bunch of these houses with our puppies and get those guys upgraded, continue to try and reduce our stress again. And we'll do that. And I also got 2 tech points while we were waiting for those guys to get back. So we're going to go ahead and we'll grab Villa. I was going to do luxury apartments, but I think we'll skip it for now just because of that stress reduction doesn't seem to be there. And that's what I want to focus on. Let's go ahead and check the footprint of our villas here. 6x4s. These are going to fit the housing as it's right here. So let's go ahead and demo that out of there. And we'll have to wait, of course, for that to get done. But once that does get done, we'll go ahead and we'll put a couple of our garden villas in there. And it looks like we are going to be able to fit 2 in that space. So that'll be a really neat thing to get in there. More red roofs. I like the red roofs all together in here. The more luxury stuff. That's great. Another thing that I was just looking at is our research institute. We can't upgrade because steel is still really, really low. So let's head back toward steel and let's grab this merchant ship while we're on the way over there. Here's our merchant ship. Medical soap, book, cocoa tequila, and unfortunately no blueprints. So we're gonna go ahead and kick that guy out of here. You know, I thought we did books a while ago. Didn't we get the print? We learned books a while ago, but I don't think we got the printing factory done. I don't remember doing printing factory at all. So I guess while we're here, while I'm looking at it and thinking about it, let's go ahead and get a couple printing factories down. We're gonna need 1 for ink, 1 for books, and we should also look for paper mill. I want to kind of keep this all together here. We're gonna have to bring in some trees, of course, to utilize those to make into that paper. So let's go ahead and set that up. If we already did that, that's okay. We can have a little bit more. But we were focusing on steel. So let's go ahead and check these out. Let's go ahead and increase our workers back up 2 on each of these guys. So that's not quite going to be enough. I don't think. It doesn't seem like it. So what I may do is I'm thinking about taking out that mountain that's right here, kind of in our way. And I want to expand this way a little bit further for our steel manufacturing. Go ahead and we'll terraform this. Take that out of there, clear out that space. And then I think with that, let's go ahead and put in another smelter here. Get as much steel coming in as possible. Utilizing it all over the place right now. Okay, so we're waiting for our mulberries to grow. Let's go ahead and we'll come back over in here and see if that space is cleared. Sure is. And we'll go ahead and we'll get a couple of garden villas in here. Let's go ahead and we'll put these in this way. I was initially thinking about doing 2 like this, but I think we'll be able to utilize this space a little bit better if we do it like this. We may, yeah, we'll get 1 more in that space. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And these buildings are going to take building kits, luxury furniture, silver cutlery, and luxury bedding again. We'll have that, all that stuff, no problem. And we'll go ahead and get these guys built up. And then, of course, we'll throw our puppies in there, and that'll be a super great way to reduce this people's stress that live there. Let's come back over in here to our new little area that we're kind of working on. And we have our printing factories. Great. So here's our... Oh, we didn't even need the paper mill. It looks like the printing factories deal with all that themselves. So let's go ahead and we'll call that an upgrade. And then let's go printing factory. Let's go for paper. And then, like I said, we're going to need the inks and the book as well. So we'll start with ink. Now, this guy's going to call for coal. We are going to need to get some more of that happening. Get some more coal coming in. But we do have a couple deep mines around town here from the last episode. Here's one. Let's go ahead and we'll put some coal workers in there, and let's just go for 5 for now, and we'll see where that takes us. We'll get this printing factory up and operational. We'll set that to books, and then we'll start to get books coming in. We need a little bit of a stock of paper, of course, and of ink. So we'll work on that, get that thing built up, and then we will come over in here, and we'll check out our garden villas. Those got built very, very quickly. Kind of snowy, so I can't see quite how fancy they look, but there they go. We got a couple of 3 of them. Looking great. Let's go ahead and we'll add our doggies to it and see what other upgrades these guys can get. So we have puppies, of course. So let's go ahead. We'll go through each one and add puppies in there. And then we also, looks like it has luxury furniture. So let's check that out. Raising the housing capacity to 2 people in addition to each family. So that's good. That's going to provide more stress reduction for more people. So let's go ahead and we'll do that. And then the fancy textiles is going to reduce the fuel consumption by 20%. I don't care about that. Let's go ahead and we'll put the luxury furniture in each building. And there we go. Oh, and now you can see it, of course, because the snow melted and looking great. Another really fine detail that you may see is if we zoom into the rooftops here, we got puppies on our roofs. So you can see the upgrades as you go along here with certain buildings. They change ever so slightly. So in this case, you can see the little puppies on top. Pretty neat little thing that they add in there. So those are our villas, looking great. And then back over in here, as I mentioned, printing factory. Let's go ahead and get the books started. And with that, we have a long ways to go with our mulberries here, but we'll get those done soon. And then that is going to be it for this episode of Settlement Survival. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you on the next one. Have a fantastic and amazing rest of your evening, day, or night.